Hello children, welcome to the online classes. In the last session I explained the fundamental unit of life, the cell. Cell is the fundamental, basic, structural and functional unit of life. Why we refer it as the structural and functional unit of life? Because the cell is the basic thing from which the life starts. Every organism starts its life with a single cell. So we can consider it as the structural unit of life. And this single cell, which we consider as the zygote, it can perform the basic life processes, those that are nutrition, feeding from the mother, excretion, respiration, so on and so forth, except the reproduction. So the single cell, which is the zygote, can perform all the functions. That is why it can be considered as the functional unit of life. That's what I said. So who discovered this cell? The cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Later, nucleus was discovered by nucleus. Where is this nucleus? Nucleus is in the center of the cell. It controls all other organelles of the cell. That nucleus was discovered in the year 1831 by Robert Brown. Robert Brown. In the year 1831. Later, in the year 1839, protoplasm was discovered. That word was used by Perkins in the year 1839. In the same year, the cell theory was given by two scientists, Sleeden and Swan, in the year 1839. In the year 1665, Robert Hooke discovered the cell in living organisms. What is the functional and structural unit of the living organisms? Every living organism is made of cells. So cell is the fundamental unit of life discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. And the nucleus, which is in the center of the cell and controls all other organelles of the cell, was discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831. And protoplasm, what is protoplasm? Within the cell, whatever content is there, it is called protoplasm. Maybe fluid substance or the solid substance. That is called protoplasm within the cell. Every cell is covered by a cell membrane, isn't it? Within the cell membrane, this protoplasm is present. You already know that. The cell theory in the same year, in 1839, Sleeden and Swan, these two scientists, they gave the cell theory. According to this cell theory, every organism is made of cell. It starts life with cell and it undergoes division and forms further cells and tissues, organs into organ systems into organism. So that cell theory was given by Sleeden and Swan. According to Sleeden and Swan, all the cells are derived from the pre-existing cell. What is the pre-existing cell? The zygote or the single cell is the pre-existing cell from which all the other cells are formed. So according to the cell theory, all the organisms are made of cells and all the cells are formed from the pre-existing, already existing cell, isn't it? So this is the cell theory given by Sleeden and Swan. Later in the year 1897, another scientist, Golgi, Golgi apparatus or Golgi complex. It was discovered by Camillo Golgi in the year 1897. In the year 1897, Golgi complex or Golgi apparatus was discovered by Camillo Golgi. So these are the discoveries regarding the cell. Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Nucleus by Robert Brown in the year 1831. Later in the year 1839, the protoplasm was, the word was used by Perkins. And in the same year, in 1839 only, cell theory was put forward by Sleeden and Schwann, and Golgi apparatus was discovered by Camillo Golgi in the year 1897. This is about the discoveries regarding cell, isn't it? Next, we have to learn in detail about the cell. Actually, in the previous session, I explained you what is protoplasm, what is cytoplasm, and what is cell membrane, what is the difference between cell membrane and plasma membrane. All these I explained already. Within the cell, there is protoplasm. Protoplasm is divided into, already this was explained. Let us recollect once. Protoplasm is divided into cytoplasm and nucleus. So in the center, nucleus is there. Surrounding the nucleus, what is there? Cytoplasm. This is the fluid-like substance. This is the cell membrane. Isn't it? Cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. In the cytoplasm, in this fluid substance, cytoplasm and nucleus together called protoplasm. Suppose this is nucleus, both together called protoplasm, and this is the cell membrane. Isn't it? About cell membrane I explained already, and in the cytoplasm there are different cell organelles. What are the different cell organelles? You have studied mitochondria, isn't it? In the cytoplasm, these are the cell organelles, membrane bound cell organelles. The cell organelles, every cell organelle which is present in the cytoplasm is covered by a membrane called plasma membrane. Cell membrane is the outer lining of the cell, whereas plasma membrane is the lining of the cell organelles. First one, mitochondria, you have learned the powerhouse of the cell where energy is released in the form of ATP. You have learned Golgi and its structure and functions. Golgi apparatus or Golgi complex, and you have learned endoplasmic reticulum and its types and function, and the next one ribosomes, isn't it? Fifth one, nucleus, which is in the center of the cell, and the nucleus is within the nucleus there is nucleoplasm, and this in the nucleoplasm what are produced? I said already, proteins are produced, and in addition to proteins what else are produced? DNA and RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. So this nucleus plays a very major role in controlling all other organelles, the functions of all other organelles in the cytoplasm. So the next one you have to learn is lysosomes. Lysosomes you have to learn. What are lysosomes? Children, I said already, the ribosomes are produced within the nucleus, in the nucleoplasm, in the center of the nucleus. These ribosomes come out of the nucleus and get attached to the walls of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and these the proteins from these rough endoplasmic reticulum, they get detached and form into vesicles. These vesicles come in contact with this Golgi complex. Golgi complex, what happens in the Golgi complex? These proteins are converted to lipoproteins and glycoproteins, and wherever they are needed, they will be transported. So in this way the process is going on, but what happens sometimes, the improperly folded proteins, they are present in the cell. All the proteins may not be bound and they may not be formed into vesicles. Some proteins they may be unfolded. These unfolded proteins, if they accumulate in the cell, there will be a pressure and the cell wall may burst or cell membrane may burst. So, but that doesn't happen. So, not only that one, this mitochondria or Golgi complex or EPR or ribosomes or nucleus, whatever the cell organelle is, they function for certain several days. Later what happens to them? They too get deactivated. So these deactivated organelles also should be eliminated from the cell. If they are present within the cell after they get deactivated, it is not useful to the cell, and also it is harmful. On the other hand, it's harmful. So these have to be eliminated. The deactivated organelles or the improperly folded proteins have to be eliminated from the cell, but there is no special excretory system to eliminate these from the cell. So these lysosomes, what do they do? The lysosomes have hydrolytic enzymes, very strong, powerful digestive or hydrolytic enzymes. These hydrolytic enzymes, they dissolve. Lysosomes have very strong, powerful hydrolytic enzymes within them. These are also spherical in shape. They are covered by plasma membrane, and within the lysosomes there are hydrolytic enzymes which can digest the deactivated cell organelles as well as the improperly folded proteins. Sometimes if the cell becomes old, the cell divides rapidly, it goes on dividing and dividing, producing new cells. The parent cell becomes old and all the organelles become deactivated. Then the cell will die. Obviously, if all the organelles become deactivated, what happens to the cell? Will there be life in the cell? There is no production of ATP or there is no production of proteins. The cell becomes dead. So that dead cell also has to be eliminated from our body. Then what happens, these lysosomes, they burst themselves. The lysosomes burst themselves and release these hydrolytic enzymes into the cell, into the cytoplasm of the cell. As a result, the cell will be absorbed by the enzymes. The whole cell will be absorbed by the enzymes. Isn't it wonderful? So, when these hydrolytic enzymes absorb the cell, can we say it as a suicide? See, lysosomes are part of the cell and these lysosomes themselves are producing hydrolytic enzymes and they are swallowing their own cell when it is deactivated, when it is not useful in our body, when it becomes a waste cell, then it is absorbed by it is digested by its own lysosomes, and as they produce hydrolytic enzymes. That is why these lysosomes are called suicidal bags of the cell. Suicidal bags. Suicide. S-I-C-I-D-E, side. Side means killing. Anyway, pesticide, insecticide. Suicide, homicide. Homicide means killing a person. Suicide, killing themselves or killing self. Here the lysosomes are killing their own self. That is why they are called suicidal bags of the cell. That is about lysosomes. Lysosomes are present in the cytoplasm of the cell. These lysosomes, they are spherical and they have hydrolytic enzymes which are very powerful, and these hydrolytic enzymes, they digest the improperly folded proteins and deactivated cell organelles. When all the cell organelles become deactivated, the cell becomes useless and the cell dies. Dies means it is not useful. Every organelle is deactivated. It's not useful in the body. Then it is engulfed or swallowed. We can say engulfed or swallowed by lysosomes. Lysosomes release. They know all the organelles are deactivated and cell is of no use to our body or any other living organism. These lysosomes know pretty well that it is not useful, useless cell. Then automatically the lysosomes produce these, they burst themselves and they release hydrolytic enzymes into the cell, into the cytoplasm. As a result, all the cell, total cell is absorbed by these enzymes. So this is the mechanism of lysosomes. The next one is vacuoles. Vacuoles. Vacuoles, these are fluid filled empty sac-like structures. Vacuoles are sac-like structures. They are filled with fluid. Vacuoles, they are covered by they are also covered by plasma membrane. All the cell organelles are covered by plasma membrane. The plasma membrane that covers the vacuoles is called tonoplast. Tonoplast. And within the vacuole there is a fluid, I said, that is called sap. Cell sap. We can refer it as cell sap. See children, we take water. Every day we take water. So this water, what happens? Excess water will be sent out in the form of sweat through skin, and it also is sent out in the form of urine after the kidneys filter the blood. Excess of salts, some proteins, all they go out of the body, excess waste. But in case of plants, there is no well designed excretory system. Excretory system is not well developed in plants. So if you observe a plant cell, in plant cell the vacuole is very big. A very big vacuole is present in the center of the cell. Actually in the center of the cell there must be nucleus, but in plant cells the nucleus is not in the center of the cell. In the center of the cell there is a big vacuole pushing the nucleus to a side. Why there is a big vacuole in plant cells and not in animal cells? In animal cells the vacuoles are small in size, very small in size, and they are more in number when compared to plant cell. In plant cell the vacuole is very big. Why it is so? And it is filled with cell sap and covered by tonoplast. Why the vacuole is very big in plant cell? As I said already, in plants there is no well developed or well designed excretory system. The excess water, the plants too take in water continuously. So the excess water, it will be eliminated out in the form of water vapor by the process of transpiration through stomata, but that is not sufficient. At a very slow rate it occurs. So what happens to the excess water? And not only excess water, excess salts, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, whatever they are, what happened, minerals, these there is no mechanism to send them out. They do not have special excretory organs. So all these get accumulated within the vacuole. Suppose you take a balloon, blow air into it. We can blow air to some extent, but if you blow air more than that, what happens? The balloon will burst. In the plant cells also, if they get accumulated like that within the cell wall may burst. But that doesn't happen so because of these vacuoles. These vacuoles maintain balance. They maintain the turgor pressure. Turgor. pressure. So they store these excess salts, minerals, proteins, carbohydrates, water, whatever it is, and they decrease the pressure. They reduce the pressure on the side walls of the cell. That is the purpose of a big vacuole in plant cells, especially in plant cell. So, what is the function of vacuoles? They store the excess of waste, and also they keep the cell turgid. They maintain the turgidity and rigidity of the cell. They keep the cell rigid, and also they maintain the turbo pressure within the cell. That is about vacuoles. The next one within the cells, within the cytoplasm is, the next cell organelle is centrosome. Centrosomes. Centrosomes are present in close association with the nucleus. They are adjacent to the nucleus. Centrosomes are present only in animal cell. In plant cells, centrosomes are not present. These centrosomes, what is the function of centrosomes? They produce microtubules. They produce microtubules. These microtubules, they work as a skeletal framework. In our body, bones are there, skeleton is there, so we have a particular structure. Skeletal framework is there. In the cell also, this mitochondria, Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, lysosomes, vacuoles, all these are in their positions. They do not move away from that place. Though they are in the fluid substance around the nucleus, within the cytoplasm, within the cytoplasm, which is the fluid, but they do not move away from their places. They will be in their places because they are held by the microtubules. So centrosomes, they produce microtubules which hold all the other cell organelles in their position. Not only that one, these centrosomes have a pair of centrioles. Each centrosome has a pair of centrioles. These centrioles take part during cell division. They form the spindle fibers. During cell division, you can learn about these centrioles in detail.